if something exists now, there are only two possibilities.
And I held it
Either
from there accidentally.
something exists.
It's right, bro. I'll sort it out. It's right. That's good. It's split the file. That's
I am saying you cannot have you cannot have an option where there is absolute nothingness. The only option that is left, which a rational mind has to surrender to accept.
right.
I'm using very powerful words. Rational mind has to surrender to accept. Because that's sometimes a Muslim is someone who surrenders to God.
Exactly.
Right? You know why? You know why? Because you can have all of these feelings about like your ego and my ego. No, there cannot be anyone greater than I. And then eventually they will surrender that there is someone greater than yourself. That's why this is called submission and surrender. So I am saying you have to submit. Alex, no, I'm saying about the concept of surrender. I am saying you have to surrender to this option where there has to be something always in the past. Always something. You have to surrender to that.
Regression of something that comes to vegetarian.
Okay, so
It's not about regression.
I'm saying, I know what I know.
This one only this one. Hold on. I swear when I bought that, check it. It's suitable for vegetarian.
I am saying it doesn't answer the question for the following reason. If there is such a thing as before, because according to the Big Bang models of our origin of our cosmos, Big Bang is one of them, there's various others. This particular model says time was created with the Big Bang 13.78 billion years ago, but it doesn't solve my question. My question is, even prior to this, if you can use the word prior in a very loose way, okay?
There has to be something.
Yeah. There has to be something, because if there was nothingness, you won't have a Big Bang.
So this one's got gelatin.
Yeah. So a Big Bang model of 13 billion years of limitation doesn't help. So you have to accept.
Show me the scientist that says that before the Big Bang there was nothing.
Okay,
Show me the scientist that says that.
Okay, saying there was nothing before the Big Bang and saying I don't know what was before the Big Bang are two very different
Exactly.
things.
That's not what options.
Exactly.
The options are
so the
either there's something or there's nothing. You don't have I don't know in the middle. Okay, look. Just one second.
About sincerity. You talk about sincerity.
I'm being a sincere person.
Alex, there's one thing we need to learn in this exercise. No. Alex, one thing we need to learn.
You can talk.
When we have a statement or a question, it has a potential answer.
Yes.
For example, what day is today? The answer is Sunday or any of the other days of the week, right? I don't know is none of the correct answers. In fact, there's only one correct answer. When somebody says, I don't know, it's not even an answer. Wait, slow.
Alex, hold on. The day of the week, you can get the day of the week by looking at. You can look it up, but it's not that simple. With before the Big Bang, you don't know.
But that's not an answer to the question. The question is this. I think you're missing my point. Maybe I'm not explaining it to you. Allow me to help you. Okay.
Here's what I think. You're saying that there either has to be, well, there either isn't or is something before the Big Bang, and I think that is that's perfectly valid. You can say either of those things.
There is no middle ground saying I don't know.
No, but the thing is, do you know?
Way too much.
Okay, hold on. There is actually a logical flaw here. Okay, so
What is the logical flaw?
Okay,
It's a very big one.
yeah, you're saying okay. So you're saying that there either is, or so you're saying that there either is or isn't. Do you know which one it is?
Do you see what you're now doing? You have submitted. I'm answering.
I know.
I'm answering.
Do you know?
I'm answering.
Okay then.
You've already submitted to two answers.
Because there's the only two answers that you said there were.
Excuse me. Can there be another one?
I don't know. This is the.
He broke it.
You don't. No.
As I say, the master of confusion.
Listen,
Alex,
This is terrible.
Alex, listen.
But he wasn't able to answer, Pablo. Come on, man.
When we're talking about,
he wasn't ready for these
Excuse me.
kinds of fallacies.
when we are talking about,
fallacies.
Alex,
Questions.
Prove them if he's not
just
ignoring.
brushing aside and calling that this is terrible, it doesn't help you. when we're talking about existence, listen, just calling it an argument doesn't help.
That way, look, there's no one there. Please, let's do it. Please. Sorry, the sister's wondering why I pointed out. Sorry.
Listen,
I can't hear anything. I'm deaf now.
We can't hear what's going on.
when we are talking about the existence of something X unknown, there are only two options. X exists, X doesn't exist.
His head was like here.
You cannot bring an alternative third. Can you? If you cannot bring anything on this table, then it's not a matter of discussion.
I'm not bringing an alternative third. I'm just saying it could be one of the two. But do you know? Do you know?
No, thank you. Finally, you said it's only one of these two. Brother. So finally, you've admitted there's only two options.
One day science may discover what the truth is. They might know. One day science might find out.
Let's move on now. Since you said there are two options.
Sorry. So you've said there are two. You've said that there either can be something or nothing. Something or nothing. Before the Big Bang.
No, I said absolute nothingness.
Yes.
Or always something.
Always something. Okay. Now that I've said there are these two options, you can't.
Do you agree that's the only two options?
The present limits around.
If you don't agree, you have to give me another third.
The thing is, saying I don't know is valid.
No, it's not valid.
At the moment,
When you say
it's valid.
listen.
Mansur, what is in my pocket right now?
Alex.
Let's see if you're sincere.
Alex.
That's disturbing, mate. What's wrong with you?
In a discussion, if you cannot provide another alternative, can I talk about it? If you say there's a third alternative and a fourth,
I'm joking.
Alternative. I'm just saying.
then I cannot talk about that. You can only talk about the alternatives that are provided, and that's the only two I provided to. Can you provide me the third?
The third is uncertainty.
That's not an alternative.
Yes, it is an alternative. Okay, no. Okay, do the pocket.
Okay. Yeah, do the pocket.
This.
Do you want to know what's in your pocket?
Okay.
What's in my pocket?
In your pocket. Okay. In your pocket. Look. In your pocket, either something exists or something doesn't exist.
Okay, so tell me, which is it?
No. Can there be a third?
That's a fantasy.
Can there be a third?
Oh, that's
Does
interesting.
something exist in my pocket or not?
Yeah.
Doesn't
Listen.
exist.
Did you
Can
hear
there
what
be
he
a
said?
third?
Does it exist?
No.
I'm asking
Pavlov,
you.
listen.
Can there be a third option?
See how you're
No, Pavlov. Did you hear what he said though?
Alex, did you
He said
understand?
about your options about
In
your
your pocket, I'm saying either something exists or something doesn't exist. Is there
there
a
a
third
third
option?
I wasn't ever bringing a third option to the table.
Thank you. Let's discuss this to them. In these two examples or two options of something exists always or nothingness exists. Now, we can analyze each one of them in turn. Let's start with nothingness. If there was absolute nothingness at one point, can this nothingness produce anything? Make anything?
That's a. Okay. There are
using common logic to things that cannot
Can you let
be
him speak?
perceived.
Can this nothingness, which doesn't exist by itself or itself, can it do anything? Can it make anything? Can it bring anything into existence?
Okay, that's a complicated question. That's actually a question which probably can't.
Adoption.
No, it's not even a complicated question. It doesn't make sense as a question.
It can
doesn't make sense as a question.
And so you still didn't answer what I have in my pocket.
It kind of can be explained, I guess, through like.
Join us next week.
Through like. Through like.
Why should he answer you if you don't
Can I
answer
listen to
me?
your answer? I would like to know because I have asked this question many times to various people. I would like to learn from you today, Alex. No, I would like, honestly, I would like to learn from you. What do you say? Can this absolute nothingness, absence of everything, can it make something, do something?
Nothing that has never been perceived by anybody. It has never been seen, has never been documented. It cannot be described. You cannot ask him
Think
about
an
things
answer. Think
that
an
cannot
answer.
be even perceived.
Alex, let him think and answer, right? Don't be his advocate. Let Alex think.
Okay, it can be, I suppose, in a way, it can be explained by, like quantum physics and things like that.
Go ahead, use it.
Okay, so bring it. Okay, I don't know this. I can't really think of any good examples apart from Boltzmann brains. Boltzmann brains are essentially this concept, which is like particles can sort of spontaneously come into existence. And if you
They
wait,
have a different behavior when they are being observed
Yeah.
and when they're not being observed.
From where they come from? Sorry? You brought this quantum mechanics in. Go ahead, explain a bit more.
Let's talk about sincerity.
Be scientific.
Let's talk about sincerity.
If you bring science in, use correct science. So, if something pops into existence, if it was in non-existence before, can it pop into existence while it was nothing?
Yeah, according to quantum physics.
So you don't understand quantum physics, my friend. Alex. You don't understand it. Quantum physics, quantum mechanics does not say they were non-existent and they pop into existence.
And so
They don't
he
say
just
that.
told you that he's not an expert in quantum mechanics.
Right.
How do you expect
I've just
him to
told
answer
you.
accurately
I've clarified
questions
to you.
about quantum
In
mechanics?
quantum
Now it's
mechanics,
just playing dirty.
there is no belief that these
Keep
particles
playing
were
dirty, man.
non-existent in another form or another waveform, whatever.
Something with particles.
It's a transformation from one state to the other.
But Mansur,
That's what quantum.
you're asking the wrong kind of question. You're asking the wrong kind of
There are
question.
these.
Look, I know you're having difficulty in understanding
You're having difficulty
this
answering
question.
The question.
You haven't
This
answered
question.
Okay,
Sorry?
because you know that there's no such thing as nothing. You know that. So okay, Hawking radiation can prove that particles can pop into existence
From
and then
what?
pop out. Okay, they exist. Okay, pairs of sort of like particles and antiparticles are created spontaneously and then instantly cancel each other out.
Slow down. When are they? Where are they created from?
Empty matter.
How is he supposed to?
So now you're saying, according to quantum mechanics,
We don't know.
slow down.
We don't know.
This is for my learning. Are you saying, according to quantum physics, quantum physicists, nothing creates particles and antiparticles?
Yes.
But it's not a
You
nothing.
can-
With certainty. You're saying with certainty.
Brother, one second.
We don't know that. It
That's
can-
not
it-
true.
Quantum mechanics has not been
That is not
discovered
true.
completely.
You cannot
to
find.
explain
Okay,
all the
can you
phenomena
back
that
up
happen
with
in
any
quantum mechanics?
scientist who says,
Yes, I can.
while they were absolutely
Mansur,
non-existent,
stop playing
can
dirty.
you let me speak so he can understand
Stop
my?
playing dirty.
Yes, can you find
You're
it?
asking him questions. He
Look,
obviously
I know
doesn't
you're
the
confused.
answers.
Don't confuse him.
Very
So,
well. You are
Right.
the one confused, man.
I'm not confused. I'm absolutely clear what I'm saying.
And let's talk
ahead.
about sincerity for a little bit. Let's talk about sincerity, Mansur.
They are
Why don't you speak too?
Go ahead.
pairs of particles and antiparticles are created, and they instantly
From what?
cancel. We do not know.
Not good enough. Not good enough.
No.
When you say something is created,
Excuse me. Excuse me. Not we don't know is a fine answer. In fact, we don't know is the sort of
Science is based on we don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Science is based
We don't
on
know. So we're trying to know.
We have answers that will improve with time.
when
find
you
out.
postulate something that is unreal, unscientific,
test.
I'm going to discard it. This is rubbish science. It's not science.
We can
prove what?
Okay, because essentially, so when these particles form, when these pairs of particles and antiparticles form over the event horizon of a black hole, they don't cancel out because they can't meet each other. One of them cannot escape the black hole and therefore disappears, and the other antiparticle is emitted from the black hole as energy.
I am not talking about once the particles are formed, what happens to them. Where did that particle come from when it was prior to that non-existent? In what kind of knowledge that we have today, that non-existent thing can become existent with what?
Today, but at some point in the future, we might discover.
You know, some point in the future, you might become a turtle.
That's how science.
Mansur,
It's possible, right? Is it possible, right? And it becomes a donkey. It's possible with no offense.
Mansur, you do nothing.
But the thing is, you're trying to sort of dumb this down.
I'm not dumbing it down. I am saying,
Yes, you are.
I am
Yes,
saying,
you are.
you are misapplying what science is saying. Science doesn't say that non-existent thing become existence
No.
just like that.
No. It could. No, it can. And quantum.
We don't really know how the brain works.
Quantum.
We don't really know how that works.
Quantum.
So it's your belief. It's not science. It's a belief then.
But we can prove it.
Hang on. What you're proven is something popped into one dimension or one reality. What it was before you came into this reality in this form, you haven't got a clue, but it's your belief it was non-existent. That's your belief.
Based on
That's
evidence
your belief.
is different than a belief. Not based
So you
on
believe.
evidence.
So it's a belief without any evidence, right?
The thing is,
Mansur, you're an intelligent
Blind
guy.
belief.
You're
A blind belief.
You're an intelligent guy. You know that there's no such thing as nothing.
In fact, Alex, one second. I am saying, when it comes to giving optional answers, we can postulate optional answers where, okay, look, one of the possible answers could be it came from nothing.
Yeah.
And what we define nothing is the absence of anything. But in reality, the reason why you say absolute nothing that cannot exist is for a reason. Do you know why we say absolute nothing that doesn't exist? Have you ever contemplated that? Why do we say in physics or in metaphysics absolute nothingness doesn't exist?
Because
we have
One
never
moment. He asked this question. Do you know why we say it doesn't exist?
Okay, you give me your answer.
No, I'm asking you.
No, you give me your
No,
answer
I'm not
first.
giving you my answer.
No,
I'm
because you're
asking
gonna
you.
play this
He's
game.
not going to give you any answers.
Look. You consider this as a game, so tell me why
you give me your
in
answer.
physics or metaphysics. One moment.
Denied every single
Tell
question.
me, my friend, in physics and metaphysics, why do we consider absolute nothingness does not exist? Go ahead, all of you.
You answer. You
hold
give me
on,
your answer
I
first,
also-
because you
hold on.
play that game.
We
Every religious
also-
person plays that game.
I've also-
You try to trap people.
Yeah, you see, you're the one who then never answers.
When your whole worldview, your ideology crumbles to dust, you call that trapping. Because anyone who believes that absolute nothingness produces something, their worldview is bankrupt. I can tell you that.
It's not an absolute nothing.
So, okay, what about, okay,
I am saying
there's this other,
you cannot have absolute nothingness.
Yeah.
That means the universe didn't come from absolute nothingness. Thank you for proving that point.
Surely God cannot just appear from nothing.
there's also another,
I cannot have two questions at once. Sorry.
exactly the same.
there's also another argument for the existence of these particles that pop out of that exist out of nowhere and then sort of cancel out, I guess. If you put two solid sort of plates of matter very, very, very close together in a vacuum where there is nothing,
Stop there. Vacuum is not nothing. Who told you vacuum is nothing?
sorry, what?
Nothingness
Which
has never
professor
been
of
perceived.
quantum mechanics says vacuum is nothing?
He just misspelled it.
No, okay, look, it's a vacuum.
Don't use the word nothing, which means something. So
No.
be precise in your word.
Okay, it is a vacuum which is without particles in it.
What?
Without
What else does it have?
these particles and antiparticles.
Sorry.
Which are
In a vacuum, what else do we have? Have you read Professor Lawrence Krauss?
no. What are you trying to say?
He is going about the whole world telling young people and old people that the universe came from nothing. But actually, that's what he means, the universe came from nothing. I asked him personally in a lecture that he gave in London, why are you deceiving people? I'm paraphrasing what I said a long time ago. When you don't believe the universe came from nothing. He says, I explained it in my book what I mean by nothing, which is something. So he doesn't believe the universe came from nothing, he believed the universe came from something.
Yeah,
That is a professor ranked in the world to one of the most influential scientists in the world today. So he doesn't believe the universe came from nothing.
Yeah.
nothing is something.
But people assume that means
Right.
nothing. That's why
Right.
his point is.
It's not a complete absence of anything. Because that doesn't exist.
I get it.
So inside this vacuum box, so two metal plates which are very, very close to each other, and then forced apart by these pairs of particles and antiparticles that are formed. They force them apart just a little bit. It's been empirically shown that these
Evidence is not a proof of what we're discussing. We are discussing the very notion of non-existence brings something into existence. That's what we're talking about.
at the quantum level that can happen. Yes.
At the quantum level, what they're saying, particles are transformed from one form to another. They don't say they pop into existence from nothing.
You're going, yeah?
You have misunderstood quantum physics. If I've misunderstood it, go do your research and give me those scientific references from scientists, professors, quantum mechanics, quantum physicists, where they say, actually, our current scientific understanding is that Particles pop into existence from non-existence, from absolute nothingness. So that coming back to my options now. Absolute nothingness cannot make anything, something. No. Look, without energy, you can't do anything. There has to be energy involved.
We don't know that is a rule that can be applied for 100% of situations. We don't know whether that is
quantum mechanics an established field or is it baby science?
It is still technically compared to
so
the other one.
So we can't somehow give support to quantum mechanics like that when the quantum mechanics is very little understood even by the scientists and proponents themselves. So you can't go for your help and support to somehow move away from the notion that the universe has to have something prior to it always in existence. So the universe, if it came today, if it existed today, there has to be always something, always with no end. Just contemplate in this seriousness of this matter.
Yeah, no,
if this is the case, then what is that thing that exists always?
I don't know.
But we don't have to explain why.
But the thing is not about why. It's not about why. It's about is.
You don't have
some impressive mental gymnastics.
It's not mental gymnastics like your hyper-skepticism crumbles to dust.
There you go, right for the truth.
Hang on. How do you feel offended when you don't even exist?
That's why he likes it. That's why he likes it.
I mean, I am surprised. You know what? I am puzzled by a non-existent entity getting offended. I'm surprised.
You know why I never feel bad for arguing with you?
Hang on.
Because you.
I called you a thing earlier on.
Because you keep trying to go for the throat of people you're arguing with.
How do you feel offended when you're not sure you exist?
He's not trying that, Pavlov.
Wait.
I don't think
if
so.
you would learn with a good preacher like Bob the Builder, he does not try to go for the throat.
Oh, Pavlov.
He does not go for the throat.
You know what?
I spoke with him.
You know why I laugh? You know why I laugh? Look, I may be.
I know you were just like.
I may be harsh, but my harshness is to provoke you to think deeper.
And you have provoked me to think deeper. And unfortunately, it looks like you've hit your head at the bottom of the pool and have got like a concussion or something.
And you're still not sure that you exist when you have now felt this feeling. I'm surprised. All the time we've spoken, you are learning, I am learning, and yet you don't exist.
The thing is, But the thing is, I'm not sure whether I exist at a conscious level. I'm not sure whether I have free will and free.
That's a different question whether you're free will or not. But do you exist? Is the question first.
But the thing is, if
according to them, you don't have free will.
Did you have free will to speak to me right now, or were you being forced?
What do you mean by force?
Are you being forced?
Free will means, in this instance, you're free to talk without any compulsion by anyone or anything. So, were you free to talk or did I force you to talk?
That's not the definition of free will. The definition of free will, if you have free will, if you essentially can choose to do what you do, or the not having free will is essentially everything will just
not being able
to.
Were you forced to speak with me? Were you forced to speak with me, or you did it on your own free will?
I don't believe.
Two options. I am forced, I am not forced. I don't know, not an option. Sorry, it doesn't work. I don't know is a scapegoat, is a way out for people who don't want to use their mind and reason and the intellect. I don't know, in this case, it's not really a very valid
than giving
option.
excuses and giving false answers. As I told you before, Mansur.